Welcome back. Good evening. Hope everybody's having a great week. The year is coming to an end. When I say it like that, it sounds kind of scary. I'm excited for the new year. A lot's going to happen next year. Lots to be done. Going to give this a minute for people to get in before we get completely started here. We recently moved this to its own channel to get it off my main channel. And things have been a little bit slower here, but it's okay. It's part of it. And yeah. Missed a couple weeks. Last week was the first time we'd done this in about 2 weeks. I had internet trouble. A few weeks back, on the night we were supposed to be doing this, my service went out. And then the next week I was in LA and was scheduled to still do it. But where I was staying was also having network troubles. They were just following me around for 2 weeks. I couldn't get on the internet. I felt Amish. So it's great to be back into the swing of things here. And I hope everyone's doing great. This is not entertainment. This is not entertaining, but it's a good time. We do this once a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We will be, for the next 2 hours, accepting anonymous calls. There's pretty much no rules other than don't dox yourself. We ask that you stay completely anonymous, no names, no locations. That is to protect you, so that you don't say something that you might regret saying later, so that you can just feel completely safe being open about whatever's on your mind. We also ask that we don't get political or ideological. This isn't a place to debate. There have been occasions where we've found ourselves kind of treading into philosophical territory. If it's something the caller is really struggling with and needs a sounding board, occasionally we will go to places like that, but it's not to sway people into thinking any differently or anything like that. This is just a very chill place. So yeah, feels good. We're coming up, I think it's in March, it will be a year ago that we started this. So that's pretty wild to think about. It's been a crazy year. My first year back on YouTube after a long, long time away. Of course, I'm kind of known for my breaks, like stopping and starting. So yeah, it's been fun getting back into the swing of things here. And a big part of that has been this stream. So it's been very interesting. Never a dull moment. Lines are opening. I'm guessing tonight is going to be a slower night because the holidays are among us and people are traveling. I tried to get together with a friend for dinner tonight, and all my friends were out of town. And I was like, oh yeah, it's Christmas and none of you have kids, so you're all in town here. Or you're all out of town and I'm the only one here. I went to sushi alone tonight, guys. It was fine. So eating sushi alone. It's one of those foods you can eat alone. It's fine. But yeah, I went to get sushi by myself tonight. Delicious. Okay, lines are open now. And since we've moved over to this new channel, on occasion there's a little bit of a wait at the beginning before people start calling in. It's okay. We will just hang out here until someone wants to call. But the lines are open. And so now we just hang it. How you doing, chat? Exuvium says, it sounds intimidating going to a restaurant alone. I wonder why that is. It is different going to a restaurant alone. It does feel it feels very different. Sushi is one of those foods, though, that, if you sit at the sushi bar, it's almost better to be alone. And you get fresher fish. I wouldn't want to go to like a gastro pub alone, like sit at a table or a booth alone. That sounds really not fun. I've done it before. when I'm traveling or working, I eat alone sometimes. It's not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. Gotta eat. Deanna Krebs is crocheting, as usual. I'm not going to say anything in detail, but I want you guys to know that there is, since we have a minute here, I'll take a chance to talk about, well, I'm not really going to talk about it too much because I don't want to go into detail, as I said, but there is something coming that you can buy that Deanna Krebs will be helping me with, and I will say no more. And I think you're going to want it. I'm going to want one. So, pretty excited. Keep your eyes peeled the next couple weeks. Keep them peeled. I've got my lemon water. I've broken 2 glass jugs during the life cycle of this stream. I've broken 2 of these. I guess I'm washing too aggressively. I have a porcelain sink and a tendency to buy these really thin glass jugs for water. I don't know why I go for the thin ones, but I like how light it is. But it breaks. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Any Christmas plans? Or holiday plans in general? If you don't celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate something else? I will be staying home. I'll be staying in town, as I stated. This year, it's my former wife's turn with the kids, so I'll be with extended family on Christmas Day. And I'll have my Christmas with my kids starting the day after Christmas for a couple weeks. It'll be great. So I'm going to have a very uneventful, very chill Christmas this year. My air conditioning is causing my hair to go crazy. Deanna, are you saying you crocheted skiing clothes? Or are you saying you're taking crocheted goodies to your friends for Christmas? Can you crochet skiing clothes? Is this a thing? I guess you can. I guess you can crochet anything. Yeah, I hear that, Moss. Traveling with kids. Not easy. Kids should be home on Christmas. It's just a hot take. I think kids should be home on Christmas. I kind of made that rule early on when I became a parent. I made that rule with my in-laws and my parents. I was like, look, kids are staying home on Christmas. I never liked traveling on the holidays as a kid either. I can remember traveling and just wishing I were home. Wow, that's impressive, Deanna. You really did make ski gear. That's pretty wild. I didn't even know that was a thing. Ray will be working on Christmas. I'm glad they're at least paying you extra for that. If I didn't have kids, I'd probably work every Christmas just because there's always something to be done. And I can't really sit still for too long without going stir crazy, unless it's like intentional, like meditation or something like that. I get stir crazy. So if I didn't have kids, I'd probably work on a lot of holidays, just catch up on things. Yeah, Moss is right. Crocheting gloves sounds difficult. That sounds very difficult. Very impressive. I dropped a new sketch today at midnight on my main channel. That is out, in case any of you missed it. I'm just trying to think of anything that might be noteworthy to mention while we're waiting here at the beginning of the stream. We'll go here for 2 hours tonight. And yeah, there's a new sketch out, and there's more coming. I've got 2 more almost finished and more planned. I'm going crazy. This year it's been insane. Like when I started my channel in 2006, I think it was so much easier to get stuff out because I didn't have kids. I didn't hardly have a life. It was my life. It's been crazy this year, just like all the planning that has gone into getting these streams up, getting a new channel set up for these streams, and then just planning sketches. I'm amazed at how much longer things take. So it's an exercise in time management, but it feels good. If you're just joining, we'll be here for a couple hours taking anonymous calls. Anyone can call in to this number on the screen and talk about whatever's on their mind. I will listen, the chat and I will listen to you and be a sounding board if there's something you want to just think out loud about or get a second opinion on. We do these streams every week on Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, for about 2 hours. And it's usually a pretty consistent group of people. I recognize a lot of the names here tonight. A lot of you were very dedicated viewers here of this stream. And I recognize some of you from the Discord as well. That's something I haven't mentioned. The Discord server in the video description is completely free. Costs nothing. And it's an extension of this project. It's a community. It's basically like our own chat room. And we use it to keep the conversations going throughout the week. And there are support channels in there if you want to talk to another member about something. There's one-on-one support channels if you'd rather just talk to one person without a group listening in, you can do that. There's an anonymous confession channel where you can post in text anonymously. It's completely anonymous. I don't know who's posting in that channel. The mods and admins don't know. And we set it up that way intentionally so that people can use it, and people use it every week. Almost every day someone posts in there. And people also use the Discord to just hang out and talk. Some people go in there and play games together. There's a book club channel. I pop in occasionally, although lately I've not had as much time to do that as I did in the early days of the project. There's just so much more to be done now. So I'm in there very occasionally chatting. But it's a great place. And again, totally free. Link in the description. Glad you guys liked the sketch. I've been planning that one for a while. Fun fact, I came up with that idea while hanging out with Rhett and Link one night because, well, I'm not sure if what I'm allowed to mention about that night, but they mentioned they had been involved with something with Aura Ring, and I started making jokes that they were gonna not know when they were dreaming. And I thought it'd be fun to shoot that one with them since they were part of the inception of the idea, but I just shot something with them like 5 months ago, that's already out. So I figured change it up. Andrew Rader in that video, the other white guy, he was, it's the first video he's been in, but he was my podcast co-host on Spellbound for about half of the life of that project. That project will come back probably, by the way, at some point. I'll probably do more episodes. But yeah, that's, if you guys ever wondered what Andrew looked like after listening to him on the podcast, that's what he looks like. I thought he did great. I don't think he's done much acting, if any, but he was great. Deanna says they streamed it together. You guys did a little watch party in the Anonymous live server. That's awesome. Yeah, that's another thing people do in the Anonymous live server. I've seen people do watch parties in there. People will watch a show or a movie or series of YouTube videos. It's really awesome to see what that place has turned into. Oh yeah, there was a time capsule burying. I'm seeing that from XUVM. Was that the video that I was in? Where I remember I did a video with them like 10 years ago or so where we were burying something. Were we burying a time capsule? I've forgotten. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, Moss, you should get in the Discord. I recognize your name here. You're here a lot. I think you'd love the Discord. Okay, a call is coming in, and I'm going to jump right into it. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hi, yeah. I just wanted to kind of share something that I'm not really able to share in a safe space in my personal life. So,
okay, great. Can we start with your age and a brief intro? Just no names or like locations, please.
Yeah. I'm 21 and I am queer in more than one way. I'm leaning towards transgender, assigned male at birth, trans femme, and also I am bisexual, but I grew up in a very conservative Christian household, and I am still currently living in that household. I have a large family, and they're all, except for one person, my brother, they're all very, far right and, conservative. And I am still myself a Christian because I don't believe that my queerness means, I can't, believe in God, of course. But I really love my family as people, and it's really hard finding that balance and reconciling my love for them as people and also the absolute feeling of discomfort and not safety that I feel living in this house with people who I know if I were to come out would not accept me and would treat me very differently, and our relationship would really never be the same. And so I'm not sure if, people on the stream even have, experience with this, but it's something that I kind of wanted to talk, just kind of get off my chest and externally process what this, how to navigate, you know, a family that you love, but you know, like, you cannot agree with and cannot be yourself with. So that's a big reason why I would love to move out as soon as I can. But even then, like, it's not like I don't want to cut them out of my life. I understand that at some point, in order for me to, you know, live how I want to live, I may have to. But I would love to start a transition and take hormones and, you know, dress how I want to dress and act how I want to act and date freely, you know, see people that are not the opposite gender as I. Oh, well, that's not really, even then it's, you know, but yeah.
So are you living
right now?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still living with my parents and with 2 sisters and a brother.
And do they know, or is this something that you're hiding from them still? It sounds like you're maybe still in the closet. Is that right?
Yes, I'm still in the closet. One of my brothers and one of my sisters know that I'm bisexual, but nobody knows that I'm transgender. And also, kind of unfortunately, my main friend group, you know, support system is through a church. And, you know, I'm seeing a therapist, and that is wonderful. And my therapist is very inclusive and non-judgmental, and I feel like I can be myself with them, of course. And I feel like, to an extent, the brother that I'm talking about, you know, that I am out to, I can kind of share these kinds of things with. But that's kind of, it's when you're still tied down to kind of, or at least when you feel tied down to the conservative Christian community, like, you know, I don't feel like I have much opportunity to develop a community or, you know, relationships with, you know, potentially more accepting people or, you know, queer people, without having to, like, hide something from my family even more, like, you know, lie about why I'm leaving the house and things like that, which, you know, it's definitely could be worse. Like, you know, it's not the absolute worst thing to hide something like that from them, but it just makes me feel kind of icky personally. But
well, yeah, it's a part of you that's shut off to them. It's a part of you they don't know, and that's not good for the relationship. I've never had to deal with that specific tension of living in the closet and not knowing what my family would make of that. I don't know what that experience feels like, but I know what it feels like to have family that I know what it feels like to have other issues that I didn't feel safe talking to family or friends about. So I can appreciate and understand to an extent what you're describing, and that's not easy, and it doesn't feel good because, you know, these are people that you're intimate with in pretty much every other area of your life. They know you, they raised you, they've cared for you, with your family specifically, and it must be eating you alive that they don't know this about you.
Yeah. I not too long ago had my first date with a man, and they would see that as, you know, homosexual, which already is kind of wrong. But it was really nice, like while I was in the moment, right? But like beforehand and afterwards, like I just hated the feeling, like I shouldn't have to feel guilty for, you know, trying to find love and going on a date with someone that I'm attracted to, you know, like it's kind of, when I say it out loud, it's ridiculous that, like, it's so ingrained into me that I feel guilty for my own identity. But it's, you know, if you're raised a certain way and you're still around the people who raised you that way, it's harder to even accept yourself at times. Which, you know, I do accept myself, but it's just a matter of, like, you can't always control your emotions and things like that. But yeah, I really appreciate the just lending an ear to this, though.
Yeah. You know, I hear the pressure in your voice. I hear the tension that you're feeling. It makes me wonder, I don't know your family, of course. I don't know how they would react to this, but it makes me wonder, like, if you, it makes me wonder how much differently that conversation might go when you finally tell them all this. If instead of sitting them down in like a really sober way, like you've got to tell them something that they're going to perceive as bad news, I wonder what it would be like if you put an upbeat spin on it, where it's just like, look, I'm bisexual, pretty sure I'm transgender, and I love you guys, and I don't know what you're gonna make of that, but I just wanted you to know. Like, I wonder, how do you think that would go if you laid it on them like that? If you controlled the your side of the atmosphere? Do you think they could meet you there? Could they meet you there, or would it just be like instant war?
I think I do in fact think that most of my family would, like, you know, of course they'd be, at least, I mean, they could be absolutely aware of this already, but I think they would be shocked. And, but I think most of my siblings specifically would be, like, open to, like, at least, like, obviously not cutting everything off immediately, but my dad is blatantly homophobic, and my mom typically just goes along with my dad on, you know, bigger decisions and things like that. So I think in truth, like, if I got my mom alone, you know, she actually has a background in theater and had, you know, gay friends growing up and in college and things like that. And so I think that she would, you know, of course, still love me and, you know, value me as, you know, her child. But I do seriously worry for my dad, you know, since he's the head of the household, and I would of course feel more comfortable doing this if I was not living at this house. You know, I'm currently saving up to move out, and I think once I move out, and potentially once, you know, I know my siblings also want to move out because I'm actually the youngest in my family, but I think if there were fewer people directly, like, day-to-day and influenced by my dad, I hate to make him seem like the villain in all of this, because, you know, he's still my dad, but, you know, I think he would would be the biggest source of conflict and like that, you know, interpersonal angst that might happen. But I think, especially like doing it like you said, in a not a necessarily like, hey, I have to break the news to you and this is going to be the end of our relationship, like, you know, in a more upbeat way. And I think maybe one at a time, because, like, you know, it'll most likely just by my guess be easier for them to accept the bisexual part, which is weird because the Bible says in the Old Testament something about homosexuality, which is already mistranslated, and not even about homosexuality, but it doesn't really say anything about transgenderism. But I feel like that's in a more it's very foreign to them and kind of more stigmatized. But anyway, I think you're absolutely right. And like, I think my first step is probably just to, you know, look forward to moving out and being in that safe space where I can, you know, decide who I spend my time with, and, you know, especially like I'll have a lot more freedom in how I dress and express myself because I won't be seeing them every day and like have to face them every time I go out on a date or something. So
yeah, well, it's good that you're saving up for that. That separation might be nice when you finally tell them. You know, a couple things. First of all, I got away from this earlier, but in the chat, Moss says to you, they're suggesting that the possibility that your family might already suspect some of this. Now, they might, if they're very conservative and old-fashioned, maybe they don't even know what being transgender means, and maybe they might not see that one coming. But they maybe might. I'm trying to find this comment from Moss. Now I can't find it. They said that sometimes they said that they've. Oh, here it is. It says, "This is something that a family that truly knows you may already be keen to, based on raising you and just loving you. I've had quite a few friends know about their child before they were told. So they might. There's at least a chance that they might suspect some of this is coming. It's at least not out of the question. But one thing that I've found to be really helpful in approaching a difficult conversation is doing. I read this in the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. It's called Never Split the Difference: Negotiating as if your life depended on it. And he's a former hostage negotiator for the FBI. And he was like the best in the business, and they sent him on all the hardest cases. He was doing it for like 30 years, and then retired from the FBI, and now runs a consulting firm where they instruct business leaders on how to negotiate. And he has a little trick that he talks about called an accusational audit. I've talked about it here on the stream before. It's a really powerful communication tool that you can use to soften the blow if you've got something that's like weighing on you that you're going to talk to somebody else about. And what an accusational audit is, the way he describes it, is you give them right up top before you get into the meat of the conversation, you give them a list of all the things that you're worried could alter their perception of you. For example, you say, Mom, Dad, and you can do this in an upbeat way, by the way. It doesn't have to be negative. You can do it in an upbeat way. So you would say, like, Mom and Dad, look, like, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is I've figured some things out about myself that I am very excited to share with you. And I'm worried. The bad side of it is I'm not sure how you're going to react to it. But the good news is you're going to learn this. You're going to learn about me in a deeper way. I'm worried that if I tell you this, there's a chance you might think I'm crazy, This is the accusational audit. I'm worried if I tell you this, you might think XYZ. You might think I'm off my rocker. You might think I've lost it. You might be afraid of what this means for our family. You might think that I'm like just a bull in a china shop trying to wreck stuff. And you just give them a list of all the things that in your mind could be perceived negatively. And you just get that all out of the way up top. So then they're like, okay, like what's he about to tell us? And again, like you can do that in an upbeat way, telling them that you have some nerves about it while keeping it upbeat. And I've found that to be an insanely powerful tool, because you get their ear on a deeper level, and they're already primed to hear a surprise, something that they weren't prepared for. And so it kind of takes a lot of the edge off of whatever it is you're about to say. I've found that to be a very helpful tool in all kinds of conversations, not just negotiations, but in just general conversation. It works, and it's really powerful. So you might consider writing that out before you tell them.
Yeah.
Not reading it to them, but just writing down some bullet points of things they might think about you that worry you, and then you just tell them before you tell them. Tell them before you tell them.
Yeah. I can already see that going a lot better than what I previously pictured in my mind. That's a really good tip, actually. It definitely seems like that. I never know how to conduct these kinds of conversations, especially with my parents, who, like, my two parents are just so different in personality, and I see. Thank you for linking the book in the chat.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat for you. That's a Goodreads link, so wonderful. You can read about it before you read it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like for a while I just kind of resigned myself to always keeping this a secret, and just never telling them, and like family holidays being really awkward and whatever. But I think especially with that tactic, and just understanding they probably do sense that I'm a little bit different. And so I think it sounds more doable in my head now, thinking about it that way.
You might check out this book. It's a book. It says it in the title that it's about negotiation, but it's such a powerful book. I think everyone in the world should read this book, because it just changes the way you look at conversation in general. The introduction to the book, he talks about how this isn't a book for business people. This isn't a book for, he goes through, like, he lists all the things that it's like not for specifically. And he's like, look, like, I'm a professional negotiator. And what I've learned is that every conversation is a negotiation. Whether it's what time your kids need to go to bed, or you're asking your boss for a raise, or you're telling a loved one about something specific about you, these are all negotiations. In your case, you're negotiating for respect. You're negotiating for their love and their respect and their trust. So you might check out this book. It might give you a lot more to think about than just that one thing. But of course, I'm not going to sit here and read it to you. So you have to read it yourself. I will say there's an excellent audiobook. I'm not generally a fan of audiobooks, but this is a great book for an audio to listen to. It's one of my favorite audiobooks. Yeah. There's just certain books, like if there's a lot of numbers or data in a book, I can't listen to that. I got to read it, see it. But this is a book where you can, like, it's the guy, Carl, what's the guy? Tal Raz. What's the guy's name who read it? I can't remember his name. He has great voice, and just really easy listen. So you might check that out before you talk to them.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know that and like I still, I'm not sure how everyone in the chat feels about religion and all that, but I still know that I have, my God on my side, and I think that if they can respect me, like I'm not turning away from their religion that they raised me, they don't think that they raised like a devil worshiper or whatever, as it's, not that there's anything wrong with that, but my parents will for sure think that. Anyway,
Maybe you drop that as a joke at the end. After you tell them, you drop that, you're like, and I'm Satanist.
That is amazing.
You might get a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think lightening the mood in whatever way I can, I think that will also help, but yeah.
I mean, that's a form, it's a joking, it's taking the accusational audit, putting it at the end of the conversation as a joke. Like, it's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Mary Baker in the chat says to you, coming out is hard and often scary. I don't know if this will make you feel any better, but you're not alone, friend. Live your truth. It's worth it. And that's beautiful. Thank you for that, Mary. Moss says to you, maybe talk to your mom one-on-one if you feel she may be more open-minded. Hopefully she will only guide you and reassure you. It's not a bad thought. If you're closer with your mom, you might confide in her first and express to her that you're nervous about telling this to your dad. That might not be a bad first step, actually.
That is a good idea. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that, but that is a good idea. Thank you, Moss.
Yeah, beautiful chat tonight.
But yeah.
So, anything else that would make this a good call? I mean, I feel like that was really efficiently, you did a really efficient job of getting to the heart of the matter. So thank you for that. Is there anything else that you want to vent about or that we missed?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's I kind of want to talk to myself and encourage others as well in this, but it's you're still always going to be learning about yourself, and so like I anticipate even before coming out to them, I'll probably learn even more about my identity just through introspection and therapy and all that. So I think something that I have struggled with is like trying to find a label for myself, and that like certain labels just not feeling right. And so I kind of want to remind myself and others that labels are there to help you and to not cause you to have an identity crisis or anything. So yeah, I think I don't know, this has been really nice. And again, thank you for even just listening. I definitely needed to get this off my chest. So.
Well, we are here every Tuesday, so if you want to call back and give us an update, I know the chat and I would love to hear an update on how this went. And if you want to hash something else out or get something else off your chest, you can call again anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Right.
Beautiful. Yeah, talking to family about stuff like that's hard. Talking about anything with family can be hard, depending on your family. I'm betting that this next generation of kids is going to grow up to be awesome parents for the most part, because there's been so much change in our world in this last 50 years, in the last 5 years for that matter. But I know that there's been so many people who have this challenge of talking with family. I think it's going to make for some really open-minded families. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hey.
Can we start with your age and a brief intro?
My what? I'm sorry.
Can we start with your age and a brief intro? No names or locations, though, please.
Gotcha. I am 16, and I am. You said no location?
No names, no locations. That's for you, so that you can remain anonymous. And no names of anybody involved in the story. We don't want to get anybody else involved. So yeah, just keep it as vague as you can. But we can go as specific into the issue as you want.
Okay, I got you. I'm sorry, I didn't really mentally prepare myself for this.
It's okay. Take a minute if you need.
No, I think I'm alright. Yeah, like I said, I'm 16. Something I'm dealing with right now is I'm practically like living by myself in like across country from my dad. I always lived with my dad. Like he wanted to move somewhere else. Can I say what country? I'm sorry.
I'd rather you not mention any locations. It's for you, so that 5 years from now, if you wish you hadn't said something, it can't be traced back to you.
Okay.
That's why we do that. But yeah, I mean, if it's typically I will just hang up if somebody mentions a name or location, because I don't want to be I don't want to put you in a situation where we want callers to feel safe sharing about whatever it is that's on their mind, and the only way to really do that is to keep it completely anonymous. So is there a way to talk about this without mentioning a specific location?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm hard at explaining things, so I'll try and get through it. Sorry
Okay,
to keep
it's no problem.
asking you things. So my parents have like been divorced for many years now. I've particularly lived with my dad, but he decided he wanted to move. So he didn't. At the time, he never really. He told me that I had to move with him. I thought I was going to stay where I was going to stay. I thought he was going to plan something out with me, but he never really told me. He told me like last moment once I was packing my things. He was like, "No, you're not staying here. You're going with me to wherever," and that hurt me. I never really talked to him much after that, but we eventually got in the car a few weeks later. We drove there. I never talked to him in the car. I got to this new house in this new part of the country, across the country, built. House he built. I was not open up to like anything. I mean, this was like he's always wanted to be in this part of the country because due to our past, like he's like sat in guilt and despair of just decisions he's made in the past of where we used to live. I was just ignorant of his of how he looked at that. I guess I just was self-centered. But yeah.
So it sounds like you were close with your dad, but he left.
It's more so like yeah, I've always been close to my dad, but like our whole family, we've always had terrible communication problems due to like just being seclusive. I grew up in a Christian household, and my father was a pastor in a church, and we were very conservative and very formal, and because of that, it like tore our family apart. It tore
of like how to socialize, how to just deal with certain things in the world, in the real world. I overthink a lot. I just have a lot of internal conflict in that manner.
So what would make this a good call? I mean, you're describing some difficult things, and I know divorce isn't easy. And sounds like you've had some issues within your family. So it sounds like there's a decent amount here that's going on. And, you know, I'm not a counselor or a therapist. I'm not, that this isn't a substitute for therapy. It's just like, you know, two people talking. So point being, like, how would you like to focus this conversation? What would make this a good call? What is it that is keeping you up?
I guess, well, as of now, I'm not living with my father. I'm back at the other part of where I grew up, but I'm not living with my mother. My mother's here. I'm living with the cousins. I couldn't live with my mother because she's remarried and her kids are crazy. So I'm dealing with a lot of, like, I guess, I'm pretty lonely. I mean, I'm depressed. I feel like I'm just sitting in despair. I don't have any commitment to do anything anymore. I'm not having any bad thoughts, but, like, I don't know what I want to. I don't know what to do to keep me going, you know. So it's mainly what I'm dealing with. I've always had, like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. I've had a goal in my head, like, started this year, because like, just be a better person, you know. Like, for example, I was, like, very, very heavyweight at the beginning of this year. I did not really take care of myself, so I really started to, like, beat myself up and try and fix myself, be the best I could. But I feel like because of that, I've always tried to be the best I can. I tried to, like, perfect something that can't be perfected. Perfection cannot be, like, committed here, like, on this planet, you know. It's impossible. So, like, I feel like as of now, even though I'm so much lighter, and I've learned that, like, there's a lot of things that I wanted to do I can't do, and there's a lot of things that I wanted to do that, like, are just going to be really, really hard. I feel like because I think that, like, I can't live up to the standard. I just sit in despair. I don't know how to think. I feel like I'm never going to be enough.
So you said something earlier that I was trying to get clarity on, but then I interrupted you. You mentioned that you don't know what it is you need to keep you going, and I was wondering what that meant. Are you having suicidal thoughts? Is it that serious, or do you just mean like you've kind of lost your zest for life? What are you feeling?
I'd say it's more or less the second one. I'd say it's more like the second one.
Okay, good.
Something I didn't. Yeah. You want to keep going?
What's that?
Did I cut you off again?
No. I'm glad to hear that you're not suicidal.
Yeah. Something I didn't bring up was once I was, like, when I did live at this time of place, like, with my dad in this new said, I wasn't like open to doing anything. This was my main part of like sitting in despair. I was away from my friends. I didn't talk to my friends online. I want to eat. I was like very extremely, like, I guess, to be honest, suicidal. I thought about it every day, but I always told myself to keep going because I thought like it could be better. And I guess I looked at coming back here as like it's going to fix all of my problems, but like it obviously didn't. So I don't know how to like I don't know how to I don't know what to do to keep me going to give me like hope.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're pretty isolated right now. I mean, you're separated from your parents. You can't live with either of them. And that's got to be hard. You mentioned that you've not got a lot of friends around you. And that sounds like, I mean, I can hear that in your voice. I wondered about this before you even mentioned you were lonely. I could kind of hear in your voice that you're really down about this, and made me wonder what you were going to say. So I want to just encourage you to, I'm gonna spend the remainder of this call probably trying to search with you for some things that might be passion projects for you to invest yourself in. We need things as people to, invest ourselves into. We need something we care about. We need a problem that we think is really important to solve, something that we can apply ourselves to make the world a better place. I think everybody longs for that. Everybody needs that. It's just like a human need. We're communal creatures. We need to feel like we're not just dead weight. Nobody wants to feel like dead weight. We want to do things for our communities, for we want our lives to mean something. It's like the number one thing you hear people say on their deathbed is like, I wish I had worked less, and I wish I had spent more time with my friends and family, and I wish I had invested myself into like more important problems. That's like, those are it's like the top three things you hear people say on their deathbed. It might have been more than three things I just said. I wasn't counting. But point being, like, I can hear it from what you're saying. It sounds like you need a couple things, potentially. Like, you definitely need some good friends in your corner, people who value you, people who care about you, people who enjoy being in your company. And, it might take you some time. You're very young. So let's start with the good news. You're very young. You got I know it's like a cliche to say this, but your whole life is literally ahead of you. Like, you are about to learn so much about yourself in the next 15, 16 years of your life. I know it feels like, if you're anything like I was at your age, I just remember being 16 and being, raring to go, and just like I felt like I saw the whole world, understood, I felt like I had this under control, knew everything I needed to know. And, even if you're really smart for your age, there is just so much you're going to learn about yourself in your 20s and your 30s. And I hear that just keeps going deeper into your 40s and 50s. You're still learning stuff. I think that's like what life is learning, encountering some kind of setback or challenge and learning, and then overcoming it. And then the next day there's another challenge or something else. And these things will stand to test you and to help you grow. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Life is a lot of work. But that's why I say it sounds like you need something to invest yourself in, an important cause or mission, or a problem that just drives you nuts about the world, and you can apply yourself to that. And maybe some problems are bigger than others, so maybe you can't you can't do it alone. You might need some help. You might need to work on a team of people that are working towards the same goal. But I'm saying these things to hopefully inspire you that this life is out there for you. You're going to have to go find it. You're going to have to put yourself out there. But I think it starts with finding community. You need friends in your life that you enjoy being around. I was listening to a podcast the other day. Sorry, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, but we'll circle back. I was listening to a podcast the other day. The guest was Andrew Huberman. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a neuroscientist, PhD, and he's got his own podcast that's pretty big. And he was talking about somehow a series of news stories came up. They were talking about these news stories about kids in depression and like people being unmotivated, and just weird things people do and weird things that happen when people are basically living in seclusion. And Andrew was talking about how when we're alone, we get that, I can't remember what chemicals he says the body makes, but like you go into more fight or flight kind of mentality when you're alone, because it's like you're alone, you don't, you're not exercising that social muscle. And it's not good for your body. And it can also, if it gets severe, weird things can happen. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of what you're feeling is normal, because you need more social connection. You need more friends. You need more people around you. Do you have, now we'll start sorting through some of that, because I know I just threw a lot at you. Do you have a group of friends that you could become closer with, that you have like a start with already, that you could make an effort to get closer with or spend more time with? Or are you just starting from scratch?
I definitely do have like a good portion of friends. I mean, a lot of, they're very versatile. Is like I have different friend groups, This one particular friend group, I enjoyed like hanging out with more than the other, because the other was more, I guess, controversial. But this particular friend group I'm talking about, like, I kind of cut off the other one to hang out with this one before I moved, because I didn't know how to talk to them, So I kind of use them as a refresh. If that makes any sense. And there's this one friend who he's just very wise, like when it comes to wording things and thinking of things. And he deals with the same things I do in different ways. And he's a lot more sensitive than I am. And he was very helpful to like cope with, and I could talk to him about anything. But recently, like, without meaning to, I just hurt him with my words, and it was just like kind of like came apart from each other. We were not friends anymore. But he says he wants to take some time to himself. So there's definitely those friends. But even then, like, we're not fully like attached, because there's a lot of different friends in the friend group that like don't talk and then talk a lot, and then there's always the oddball, I guess. But yeah, I have friends. It's just.
Have you tried mending that with your friend? Sounds like it was a misunderstanding. Have you tried mending that relationship?
What does mending mean?
Like, have you apologized? Have you gone to your friend and said, "Look, I now see why I upset you, and I want to let you know that I didn't mean it the way it came across to you." Something like that.
Yeah, I definitely did. I made sure to like come to that. But I really don't know if like my words will get to him, because what mainly happened with him was I just overthink everything, because you can talk in such like a manner that like I'm not used to. So I would think of it as something else, and I would think that he's using words to like, I guess out of spite. But he never did. He was a very neutral person when it came to talking. And eventually, just with overthinking and not thinking with emotion, I said things. I said a lot of things. So I don't know if like any things that I have I can't say will fully get to him. But he understands, and he accepted my apology, and I don't think there's anything else I can really say to him as of now, because, like I said, I spoke too much, but I'm trying to, like, deal with that.
Well, I'm sensing some regret there.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there something else you can give him with your words? Like, it sounds like you've already apologized, which is great. Could you go to him and, I mean, I'm only suggesting this because it sounds like this is someone that you wish you were in better touch with. Is that right? You wish you guys hadn't, and I know you're not like, you didn't have a falling out, but it sounds like you kind of miss him.
I feel it's more like I hurt him, and I was thinking, I think because of like, me being so isolated lately, I have literally like have not been thinking with emotion fully, and like even right now as I'm speaking, like I'm not fully there. You know, like it's hard for me to pay attention. I don't feel fully alive. It's really weird. I don't fully think or act with emotion anymore. I don't know what it is, but that's what happened.
Might be because you're alone.
Yeah. I've noticed, like, when I do hang out with people and I'm open, it's very enjoyable. It's different. I don't think of anything.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how things would change if you went to this friend who you hurt and said, give him a nice gesture with your words. Say something like, I just want you to know that I really respect you, that I really admire a lot of the qualities you have. I really look up to the way you communicate, and I aspire to be a better communicator because of how I've seen you deal with people. And if you feel that any other form of an apology or bridge building would be well received in that moment, you could add one on. You could add another apology or some kind of sentiment. But I wonder how the dynamic would change if you told him that you look up to that in him, that you recognize that he's a great communicator, and that you aspire to be a better communicator because of watching him.
Yeah, I do. I have thought of doing that in that way before. I think I think the best way that I could confront that would be like actually talking to him and like face to face or over a call. Because I don't know, because like entirely like all the rude things I said to him were they were over text, and I think it'd be a nice change. And I feel like whatever I say, I feel like if I shorten it and I use the right words and I don't overthink it, I feel like less could be a lot more, and I could show like a lot more sympathy. That makes sense.
Yeah, why don't you offer to buy him coffee or lunch?
I was honestly just thinking like waiting until he's ready for whatever, and then I would go over to his house and give him a hug, talk to him, because we hang out a lot. Not a lot, but like we'll hang out like outside of there, which is nice.
Okay,
so I
good.
wouldn't mind doing something like that.
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, my friend, I'm just sensing that you need more social interaction, and I bet you. I'm starting there. Because I'm betting that a lot will change for you once you have those people around you. When we're alone, the world can seem impossible. Because again, we're social creatures. We're meant to be in tribes. Moss from the chat says to you, you need a tribe. You will find it. Surround yourself with as much positive as possible in the meantime. I know it's hard, but getting out of the depression mud is harder. Keep going. Thank you for that, Moss. That's beautiful. But I would start with just putting yourself out there more with friends. I think aspiring to be a better communicator is also a great challenge. That's something that I aspire to be better at every day as well, because I've seen that quality in other people, and I really admire it when I hear someone who can really eloquently communicate something very difficult or difficult to understand. That's a really powerful skill. And so I think it's great that you have that kind of as a goal in the back of your mind, that you mentioned that you have a hard time in conversation sometimes. But I want you to know that that's something that you want to get better at. You can. I think anybody can. Doesn't mean you have to be like a public speaker for the rest of your life if you don't want to be, but it'll make your friendships easier to navigate. It'll make your career easier to navigate. If you're a good communicator, a clear communicator, that's something you can learn. So I want to encourage you to not lose hope, and not try to tackle all of this all at once. Because again, you're 16, and this part of life is supposed to be very confusing. I don't think a lot of people your age get enough respect for what they're going through, especially in your case, because you're going through a lot of family issues as well. I don't think people in their late teens and early 20s get enough respect for the life building that they're doing. I mean, you're setting yourself up here for adulthood in this time, and so it's supposed to be a little anxiety inducing where you are. Anxiety is what we feel just moments before we solve a problem. That's why we're anxious about it. If we didn't have that anxiety, how many problems would get solved in the world? Probably not nearly as many. So I wouldn't get freaked out, and I wouldn't try to handle all of this all at once. I think if you start with just building up your friend circle to a place where you're happy with it. You'd mentioned that you feel great when you're with other people and you don't overthink things as much. You feel more open. I would follow that like a white rabbit. I would just latch onto that, follow that wherever it takes you. And then the other stuff will probably just get a lot simpler. It's still hard. Life is hard. It's always going to be hard. But it becomes manageable when you have good people around you. It seems more manageable. People who believe in you, people who can tell you you're on the right track. Hey, I love what you've been up to. Like, keep up at this. This is great. People that can root you on. That's what your friends are for. So I would start there, and then, you've got time to figure out the career stuff, what you want to invest yourself in. But I would. That was the second thing we were talking about was. You mentioned you kind of lost your zest for life. It sounds like the second thing you need is something that gets you out of bed in the morning, a problem that you care a lot about, that you can help solve. What is it that drives you nuts about life? Is there something that drives you nuts that you wish was simpler, that you could be helpful in solving?
I think I wish I was wiser in different aspects of life. I just wish I knew how to deal with different things effectively. I wish I didn't have to be so dependent on others, because I'm surrounded with a lot of like people aren't reliable, and my mom, she's proven herself to be very unreliable sometimes. I know it's harsh, but it's true. I love her, but I really just I want to be a better person in every way. But I've really overthought that, and now I just now I'm just kind of, like I said, I'm not really sure how to think of it, but I do have like goals of how I want to be better in different ways. Like I'd like to start going to the gym again. I want to be like toned. I want to learn how to socialize better. I want to learn how to dress better. I want to like get things off of my bucket list. I want to do better in school again. I'm getting help in that work. Stuff like that. There was also I want to say this was one of the main reasons why I wanted to come back here, but there is like a girl that I really liked for a long time, and she was actually like one of my main inspirations to lose weight and to be a better person. But like I found out she has a boyfriend, and that really made me feel more lonely too. It made me feel like I couldn't do anything about it. I still feel like I can't do anything about it, but that was something that really kept me keep going, you know. So I guess I gotta fill in that hole.
Yep. Got to fill in that hole. You mentioned you wish you were wiser. That will come in time. That's not something that you're born with. You know, this journey that you're on in life, the journey that you've lived, will give you plenty of opportunities to build wisdom. I wouldn't compare yourself to other people in a negative way. If there's someone that you look up to, like your friend who's a good communicator, then let that person be a light post for you. Let that person be a marker for you. But I don't want to hear you degrade yourself saying that you're not a good communicator or something like that, because you first of all, everybody can always improve on something, and secondly, it's not that you're a bad communicator. It sounds like you're just not where you want to be yet. And so the wisdom will come as you continue to live, as you continue to pursue the things that inspire you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a really creative mindset as to how I want to be. I mean, I struggle a lot with like self-acceptance, and because of that, I am where I am now. But like, I feel like I do have a lot of potential as a person, and just dealing with things like this, I think that's really what keeps me going. I feel like I can't achieve that if I try hard enough, but that's the hard part. I gotta overcome that feeling.
Yeah, don't give up. I can hear in your voice that you've been through a lot, but I don't want to see you give up. I heard a friend give a great picture to me in a really difficult time where I didn't know how I was going to get through it. And my friend told me that his therapist once told him to imagine himself in the jungle with really tall grass and a machete, and just walking through the jungle and chopping down a path to walk through with your machete. And I've come back to that picture at times in my life. I've revisited it. It's a really powerful picture. We all have stuff like that we've got to get through in life, and it can beat us if we let it. but envisioning yourself as a powerful entity to be reckoned with, not in a maniacal way or, malevolent way, not in an evil way, of course, like be a good person, but, taking charge of your life. You have agency in your life. You can change things about yourself. You can grow. You can get from point A to point B, even if there's really tall grass in the jungle. You got a machete. You've got tools to get you there, and those tools will get sharper the more you use them. Unlike a machete, that it will get dull as you use it and will need to be sharpened. Your wit, your wisdom, your intellect, and your experience will only sharpen as you use it. They only get rusty when we don't use them. So I wonder if that picture inspires you to take charge of some of this. Grab it by the horns.
I think something that helps me, but is like can be very 50-50 is like, I'll tell myself that, like, if I struggle to finish something, I'll tell myself I can't do it, and it will often, it'll like give me like a boost confidence to do it, and I will do it. So that's a way to look at something like that. But like it also beats me up a lot. I feel like I beat myself up a lot. I gotta learn to love myself.
There you go. There you go. Self-love. Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. That's a lifelong struggle. Loving yourself. And I think some people maybe shy away from self-love because it feels like prideful or egotistical to love yourself. But if we don't love ourselves, we won't take care of ourselves. We won't have healthy bodies. We won't have good hygiene. And then in turn, others will slowly start to notice. And that can make your socializing even more difficult. So yeah, that self-love, self-acceptance is very important, I would say. What is something you love about yourself? What's something that you're good at? I'm asking you to tell me, so don't feel weird about it. Can you tell me something you like about yourself?
Honestly, I think only like how I think, like my mindset. But I remember in the ninth grade, my teacher asked me the same question. She said, "Tell me one thing you like about myself." And I remember at the time, I literally couldn't give her an answer. And you asked me that, really, it brought me back to that. But at least now I can say that, like, I'm proud of how I can think. I'm proud of how I can, like, understand my mistakes after I do something, and I can learn to be different in the future. I look at myself in that way the greatest.
That's a great quality. I do see that in what you've shared in the story about hurting your friend with your words, and then owning that and going back and trying to make it right. That's a beautiful thing that not enough people do. Not only did you apologize, but you were able to see the problem from a different perspective. And that's a beautiful thing. You seem like a very gentle, very charitable person. That's a great quality. And that will serve as a great basis for this wisdom you're after, I would say. Sounds like you've got a great start.
Thank you for that. I mean, a lot to me. I don't know if you like condone this, but like, just because I know of you, like I've grew up watching you. You're just a funny dude. You're an entertainer. You're cool. I guess. It means something even more hearing this from you over my phone. So this means a lot to me.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you for kind words and support. Yeah, I mean everything I said. I'm not just saying that to fluff you up or make you feel good. I'm telling you what I believe is the truth, that you've got a really great start here. And I say that knowing that your childhood was difficult. Some of the most powerful people in the world grew up with very difficult beginnings. And I mean powerful in like a good way, not like a nasty way. Like power is a weird word, I guess. But some of the most influential people in the world who've done the most good grew up in a lot of bad. And I don't think that's an accident or coincidence. I think it's because when we grow up in undesirable circumstances, we develop a bigger propeller for our body, for our engine, for our life. We get a bigger engine. We build a bigger engine because we're like, wow, look at all these problems. I gotta get the hell out of here. And that is what, in my mind, it's at least one way that great people are made, is through really difficult stuff. But it doesn't happen automatically. Anybody who's pulled themselves out of that will tell you it takes a lot of work, and it's exhausting, and it takes a lot of determination. That's why I'm trying to encourage you to take this in chunks. Don't try to solve it all overnight at once. Start with finding your tribe. The chat is kind of backing that up here. There's a lot of good stuff for you to go back and read in the chat. It'll be there for you tomorrow when the chat replay gets processed. But yeah, the chat's with me that finding friends can be hard. That's why I think maybe you start there, get that support system where it feels good, tune it till it feels right. And you've got time to figure out the career stuff. Find something that pulls you out of bed in the morning, something that you can't not get out of bed for. That will come in time. But I think it starts with the friends. And I want to just reiterate, it sounds like you've got a great start here. I wouldn't beat yourself up thinking that there's no way out of this. This is like, you have the makings of a very inspirational story, I would say. And you're in the middle of it right now. You're at the beginning of it, actually. You're 16. You're at the beginning. So I wouldn't lose heart. I would take heart. I would feel very good about the chapter of life you're coming into. And see it in your head, envision it, whatever it looks like. You don't have to have everything figured out as you visualize it. You don't have to know what you're going to be doing in your career in 5 or 10 years. You don't have to have any of that figured out to do this. Imagine what you want your life to feel like. Visualize it in some way, and then wake up in the morning and think about that. And if you have to put a reminder on your mirror in your bathroom to remind you of it, maybe that's not a bad idea, or put it somewhere where you'll see it. Also, journaling is a great thing that I personally don't do enough. I kind of get journaling through writing somehow, writing like scripts and songs. I kind of get some of that from that. But I know a lot of people who say that like journaling every day or several times a week is just so therapeutic. I've seen it really be valuable for people. So you might journal about what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your goals are, where you want to be, how it's going. I'm just trying to think of things that might put you in a more positive frame of mind and give you the drive to go after what it is you're after.
Yeah, I think something that would help me with that would, like you said, write things down. Because lately I've been just forgetting a lot of things. I feel like I need to take into consideration. I mean, something can help me, but I don't know. I usually have a really good memory, but lately I haven't. But something that does help me with that area of thinking is, for example, like movies and just listening to music. If I try my best to like find good inspirational music, stuff like that. If you had like if you could recommend something to me in that area, I think that'd be awesome. I hate to ask you that, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing too many things at once here, and I missed what you were. I know you were talking about listening to things, and but what specifically are you asking about? Like a book or something?
are there any movies or songs or like just any artist albums, stuff like that, that like you feel like, I guess, could help me in this situation, something that you personally enjoy?
Interesting question. Yeah, I will have a think on that for a moment. I don't watch or consume much of anything in terms of media. I don't really watch or listen to much. But when I watch movies, I'm not generally watching for inspiration or like therapeutic value. I just want to, I'm very odd. Maybe I don't watch movies the same way everybody else does. I'm thinking about a lot of dark movies that might not inspire you, but would be fun to watch. One of my favorites here is actually my coaster on my desk. I have the DVD and the Blu-ray of this movie, and I use the DVD copy as my coaster. This is There Will Be Blood. Do you know that movie by Paul Thomas Anderson?
I've seen some clips of it. I've seen some clips of the father. I actually have that on a movie list of mine.
That's a great movie. It's not. It might inspire you to start working on your friends group because it's about a really evil guy with no friends. So it might have some kind of like anti-hero inspiration for you. But it's just a classic movie. I just love that movie so much. It's P.T. Anderson's best movie by far, I would say. I have to watch it like every year. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm struggling to think of relevant movies. Thank you, Moss, for that.
Movies, old movies, like no new movies, but you don't need to help me with that. You've already helped me so much. It's not something I need to like attach myself to anyway, so I can be independent in that way.
Okay.
So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I might also throw this out at you. It's not a movie, it's not an album, but it's a guided meditation that I really, really like. It's by psychotherapist Bella Ruth Napper-Steck. Have you ever heard of her or heard me talk about her?
I think I've heard of her name, but I don't know anything of her if I do.
Okay. So Bella Ruth Napper-Steck, I'm putting it in the chat for you. This is her website where she sells guided meditations, and they're all based on theme. So she has one called alcohol and drugs. So if you're like trying to get off drugs, she has one for relieving asthma. She has one for anxiety and panic. She has one for, I'm trying to see if there's one in here that might be helpful for you. There's one on depression. There's one for concentration, focus, and learning. That one might be interesting. Since there's a lot you want to learn. There's one on healing trauma. And what's great about these is that it's basically like I had the hardest time getting into meditation. It just frustrated me to no end because I felt like I constantly heard people telling me, oh, just do some meditation, do some breath work. And every time I tried it, I just got frustrated. What's great about these is it's just her voice. And she's got this very soothing voice. She looks like a very nice old lady from her picture on the website, but her voice is just so soothing. And she goes really slowly, and you just put in some headphones, sit in a dark room for 30 minutes. Some of them are shorter, some of them are a little longer, and you just put in the headphones and you listen and close your eyes and don't think about anything else other than what she's saying. Just listen to her words, and she'll take you down like this little journey that'll last about 30 minutes. They're not free, but they are not expensive. And once you buy them, you own them forever. So you can listen to it as many times as you want. And I've listened to one of them that I have in particular. I've listened to probably over 100 times. They just never get old. And they're anywhere from like $6 to $12, depending on the length. And the link is in the chat for you now, so you can look at it. That has been a very valuable resource to both me and a bunch of people here in the Anonymous Live community. I know a bunch of the mods have used it and have said that they loved it every bit as much as I did. It could be a great practice for you to get out of your head if you're overthinking a lot. Meditation can be a really powerful tool, and I'm recommending this one because it's she should call it Meditation Made Simple or something. Like, it's called Health Journeys, which isn't a bad name, but I don't think she's selling enough how simple she makes it. If you go to her website, it doesn't say anywhere like, this is for people who don't know how to meditate and want to get started. Like, that's what it should say, because that's what it does. It's so good. Powerful stuff. So, I just blew a fire hose at you, but how are you feeling?
How do I word this? You've definitely boosted my confidence and just pretty much everything. I feel this is kind of like goofy to say, but like you've given me like everything you've kind of asked, like you're trying to do. It's I feel like a lot of your words hit me, and I believe you. I believe I can do the things that you told me to do. I believe I can. If I put my mind to it, I can achieve whatever I feel like achieving. So thank you for that.
Good.
I'm obviously gonna have my ups and downs with thinking, because I definitely I definitely have, what's the word? Not bipolar, but not bipolar. It's I can't remember. But yeah, I go up and down with emotions a lot. But this is going. This conversation is going to be significant for me in the very far future of my life. I can already tell.
Great. You can do it. You can. I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt. Like, you can do it. I told you that because that's what people do. People do it every day. We don't always. Sometimes we have a vision of what our life will look like, and it doesn't go exactly the way we'd planned, and that's okay too. And life is difficult. I can't stress that enough. If there's one thing I wish more people your age were told about life, it would be that it's really difficult. Yet it beats the alternative. Like, I'd much rather be alive than not alive. And the downs, you talked about the ups and downs. I'll leave you with this thought. I kind of touched it earlier, but I'll use your own words in this way. Again, like, anxiety is what happens right before we solve a problem. So in that way, there are ups and downs that we go through, but the downs create the up if we do the work. We create the up with the down by using the down. We focus on the problem, and then if we play our cards right, we have an upswing. But I don't believe the ups create the down. I think the down can be used to create an upswing. But if you keep doing the work, you'll just keep going up. I don't think that ever comes back down unless something comes along we weren't expecting, or we have some kind of setback, or So I guess I'm just trying to encourage you that, yeah, you will continue to have bad days. You'll continue to go into bad places in your head, but it's been helpful for me to think about that as just the beginnings of an upswing, because I believe it's true. If there were no problems in life, we wouldn't even have a concept of things like ups and downs and good times, bad times. Like, there would be nothing to work for, and we might all just be floating around on chairs like the end of WALL-E. It doesn't sound like a very fun existence. Like, the problems are what actually makes life interesting, and show me a wise person who's had no problems. You won't find one. Wise people often have had the most problems in life, or more than average problems, or bigger problems. So grab it by the horns. Go get it.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
There you go. I want to hear an update from you. I know you've got a lot to figure out, and it won't happen quickly, but you can call again anytime if you want to hash something else out, or if you get some kind of positive update. I know the chat and I would love to hear it, so call again anytime.
Yeah. You remember me?
Yeah, I'll probably remember you. I might need you to jog my memory, but return callers are a thing here. We encourage all callers to call back with an update at some point, so it's a part of this. You don't have to, but if you call and jog my memory, I'm sure I'll remember you.
That's cool. Before I called you, I thought it was going to be like a one-time thing, and like it would have been weird if I called you back, but I appreciate you telling me that.
Yeah, well, it can't turn into like I can't make it like where you're effectively my co-host. We can't talk to you every day. But yeah, please call again. We want to hear an update.
Yeah, and I think I'm in your Discord server, so can always
okay, great.
drop it on there.
Great. My friend, thanks for calling. And what's one thing that you can do differently tomorrow that's achievable tomorrow that will be a step in the right direction?
I'm going to try and stop looking back at the decisions I've made in the past, and I'll look more into the future of what I can do different.
Great start. That's awesome.
Stop dealing with those burdens.
Good. Great. Tomorrow night when your head hits that pillow, you will have that in your pocket.
Okay.
Well, hopefully not in your pockets, because I don't want you sleeping in your jeans.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for calling and sharing, and I'm excited to hear a good update from you at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for everything again.
Thank you. Call again anytime. Good night.
All right. Well, good night.
Beautiful. I love talking to people at that age of life, at that stage of life, because I remember being there. It's not an easy time of life. Guys, it is 13 minutes to the top of the hour. We don't have time to get into another call. So I'm going to wind the stream down, and I'm going to come hang out with you guys in the Discord for a few minutes. I can't stay much longer than 11 o'clock my time here, so it'll be a short hangout, but I'll come hang out in the Discord, voice chat with you for a few minutes to make up for the delta here on the stream. This has been a beautiful stream. Thank you guys for being here with me. These streams are the highlight of my week each week. And yeah, we do these streams once a week on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. And there's a Discord server, which I'm about to go hop into and hang out with you guys for a little bit. It's totally free. The Anonymous Live Discord server is free. And the link is in the description. So come hang out with us for a few minutes. And yeah, shout out to our mods. Tonight we had Deanna Krebs, And it looked like Raymond popped in earlier, but I don't know if Ray is still here. Ray, are you still here? Ray Mag? And I think that was it. I think that was just you two here tonight. I thought Ray was going to be in bed, and then he joined us. More the merrier. Guys, thanks so much, and I will see you next Tuesday. Take care, have a great week, and have a great holiday. Christmas will be here in just a matter of days now. It's sneaking up on me. So if you're celebrating Christmas, have a great Christmas, and to all of you, happy holidays, and hope you have a great end of the year. I'll see you in a week. Take care. Good night.